Hey everyone, welcome to Boldly Becoming. I'm Angie Mercier, a retired superintendent of education turned executive leadership coach. After 31 years working within the system, I'm now dedicated to helping us speak and live our personal truth, all while leading ourselves and others. Alongside my inspiring guests, we'll share thoughts and stories of authenticity, courage, and transformation. Boldly Becoming is for you if you know that you are meant for more and you're looking for a little extra heart and soul to help you navigate the way. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, it's Angie, and I'm so glad you're here today with us on this episode. And I'm hoping that you may have a perspective on this as well that helps us to even bring more clarity to what I'm about to talk about. So, as a leader, I am a person, a leader who loves to connect the dots. I am somebody who is all about taking all these separate ideas and creating something that's unified, something that's connected. It's something I love to do. And I connect dots between things that make sense together, but also I connect dots sometimes when things are not making sense and there's that cognitive dissonance between them. And right now, that's what I'm experiencing. So I want to talk a little bit about the cognitive dissonance I'm feeling between personal growth and development and the idea of a gift economy or reciprocity in community. And don't worry if that sounds like a convoluted kind of idea. I'm going to get into the nitty gritty of where this all came from. So it all started on Sunday. Every Sunday, I go and spend that time with my mom at her retirement home, and we watch a church service on TV. And we love that time together. We listen to the service and we also talk about it. And it's kind of a tradition that I've continued on because my late brother Kevin used to always do that with my mom. And it's been a really, really special time for us. And we always connect with Kevin as well at that time because we know that was so special to him. But that's an aside. So I'm in the church service on TV. We're watching and listening, and I usually take notes. And there was something that the pastor said that struck me. And he said, if all we believe in is ourselves, things can go very wrong. Now take that how you want. If you have faith like me, it's about faith in knowing that God is walking alongside me, right? That I'm not doing it alone. You may think of it in other ways, like maybe you think of it as you are part of a family, and you can also bring meaning to it that way. Like I'm not doing it alone, I'm doing it with my family, as an example. But what could possibly go wrong if we only focus on ourselves? So here's the inner turmoil. Here I am, an executive leadership coach who not only values lifelong learning, and I've always valued lifelong learning, that is not new for me as an educator, but I also work with people on personal transformation of themselves. But what the pastor said made me pause. Don't get me wrong. I firmly believe in pulling apart those old stories that have helped us to create something that isn't always true for ourselves so that we can dig down into what our true identity is, getting back to who we really are. But self optimization can become a lonely trap if that's your sole focus. So here's a little story, and then I'm going to tell you about what really brought this home for me and why it's become such a source of back and forth tension. And again, I'm going to hopefully make some sense of this, and I'm looking forward to hearing your perspectives on it too. So I've talked to you about the time that I was working as a superintendent of education during COVID, feeling fully and completely burned out physically, mentally, emotionally. And I was experiencing feelings that I had never experienced before. Feelings of anxiety, feelings of I can't do this, feelings of deep sadness. So what did I do? I did not share it except for with my family. I turned to books, I turned to podcasts, I turned to webinars that were being offered online. And during that time, because I didn't have a community where I felt I could share that, it was so, so lonely. And now, 5 years later, my understanding of what was happening during that time has grown and shifted, and that includes even understanding where I was as a menopausal woman at that time and how that was contributing. And we're going to talk more about that in the next episode. I'm really excited to talk more about that and some of the learning that I've done to maybe help you to think differently about your changing body and your changing season of life. But I'm going to push pause on that for now. So, in the last week, I've been really focusing in on some reading by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Robin Wall Kimmerer is an Indigenous scientist, professor, and an enrolled member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation. What makes her work in braiding sweetgrass and serviceberries so profound is how she beautifully weaves together her deep background knowledge in botany with ancient Indigenous wisdom about the natural world, showing us that nature's survival has always depended on the law of reciprocity. And she was the author of Braiding Sweetgrass, as well as The Serviceberry. The Serviceberry is a small book. It's not a very long one. I listened to it as an audiobook. I think it's 2 hours long. And now I started reading Braiding Sweetgrass and never finished it. And now I'm listening to it too. And what is so beautiful in that book is that she is really talking about the reciprocity of community and gets into something called the gift economy. So, the difference between our modern transactional world where we keep score and a gift economy is very, very different. So, in a traditional market economy, everything is transactional. It's about keeping score. I give you this, you owe me that. I buy this and I give you the money and I walk away. Very transactional, not a lot of giving and receiving. Whereas in a gift economy, you are giving because you want to give. You are giving because you feel a sense of belonging potentially with the person you're giving to. You're receiving from someone without the guilt of feeling like you have to give something back or you have to pay back a gift. They gave me that, so I need to repay them with something. That is not a gift economy. So I want to take a minute, if I could. And remember, I'm just pressing pause here on talking about personal transformation and personal growth and shifting into the feeling and what Robin Wall Kimmerer is bringing forth in her books around reciprocity and the gift community. I'm going to use Bloom Leadership Circle, which is the circle that we have created, my business partner Dana and I, through our Thrive and Rise business. And it's a place where I've described where we come together as a group of women and women who have a heavy burden of leadership, heavy responsibility, and they come together as a place to exhale and just to be, and a place to take off their career armor for a few hours. I want to use this circle as a way of sharing some examples of this reciprocity in a way that you may not have otherwise thought before. In May, at our Bloom Leadership Circle, we had our guest facilitator, Erin Morahan, and she challenged the women in the room, all of us, and said, when you buy your ticket to come to the event, are you just coming to be poured into? Are you just coming as like an empty vessel to take everything you can, turn around and walk away? Or what value are you bringing into this space? What value are you giving back? It was a real moment of pause for everybody because I think that when we purchase a ticket to go somewhere, we think we paid our money. Now we're going to go, we're going to receive, we're going to turn around and walk away, and we will do what we will do. Not thinking that what we're bringing into the circle through our personality, our experiences, our lived experiences, what we share is of value to everyone in that circle. So that was a really powerful moment and started me thinking really about that reciprocity. So in our Bloom Leadership Circle, in a gift economy, we really increase value by giving things away, not by hoarding something all to ourselves. So when a woman does step into the Bloom Leadership Circle, she's not just attending an event or buying a service. She's entering a living ecosystem of giving and receiving. And that's how I've come to understand it. So when you're in the circle receiving something from somebody, and I'm not talking about necessarily something tangible in your hand, but receiving something isn't a sign of weakness or a debt that you have to repay. Receiving is actually an act of generosity because it allows someone else the joy of giving. Is there anybody else who's listening who understands this true joy of giving? And when you give, the feeling that you get. I am definitely a giver. I know even when I'm giving gifts, I spend time thinking about what it is that person really needs or wants or what will make a difference for them. And honestly, it doesn't even matter if I get something in return because the gift of giving to me is so fulfilling, so fulfilling. Is there anybody else out there who feels that too? When we're in the workplace and we share a struggle, or we want to share a struggle or a challenge we're having, it feels like a liability. And then we start to hide our burnout and our self doubt because we're really afraid of what it's going to cost us. But when we gather for our Bloom Leadership Circle, we take off that organizational career armor. And if one woman stands up, or if that one woman puts up her hand and she shares something like, I don't know who I am outside of my role and my title, she's not losing status. It's not costing her anything. She's actually offering a profound gift to the rest of the circle. The gift is the gift of vulnerability. And when somebody is vulnerable, first of all, it will foster connection between people who are in the circle. But it also gives every other person in that room permission to also exhale, potentially share if they want to, and it becomes a more psychologically safe and brave space. That woman, she didn't share to get something back. She offered it as a gift. And the gift of reciprocity happened instantly when the women around her nodded and said, Me too. That exchange didn't cost a dime, but it changed the weight of the entire room. That's one example. Here's another example. In a transaction, if I give you $1, I have one less dollar. It's a zero sum, but in a gift economy, gifts multiply. So here's another example using our Bloom Leadership Circle as a real tangible way for me to make sense of this and for me to share with you. I want you to think about that cross pollination of wisdom when the larger circle gathers. Imagine all those beautiful minds coming together, all those incredible experiences and the wisdom and everything that's coming to that circle, and somebody sharing something, a leadership framework, or maybe someone's guiding that conversation. It is a real gift, but the true magic and the true reciprocity and gift in that is that there's a ripple effect. What I mean by that, so a woman comes in and shares the lived experience about navigating a massive career transition or an opportunity or a moment where she reclaimed her peace. That insight doesn't just stay between two people. No, that woman sitting next to her might take it home to her family, and another one might use it at their senior team meeting the next day. We pour into other people and we offer them the gifts of our wisdom and experience, and we leave that with people. But really, the true gift is in the fact that that wisdom can now be shared and it's not sold. It is shared and it's a ripple effect out there. That's so beautiful. Some of you might resonate with the next example. Sometimes we are so terrified of showing who we really are or being a burden to other people or being judged by others. We're so terrified of that for one reason or another. Possibly someone made you feel that way or made you feel unsafe in your workplace. And now you bring that story into all situations. And we feel like we can't be perfect or we aren't perfect, so we can't show ourselves in a space, so we shouldn't show up at all. And really, here's the reality of the spaces that Dana and I are creating. We're creating spaces where we want women to show up to any of our larger events or our smaller events. I'm hosting right here in my backyard, Bloom Backyard Circle tomorrow, our first one. We're so excited. It's going to be an intimate gathering and it's a judgment-free space. We all want people to show up as their authentic selves because we know people come to these spaces sometimes with some of those stories and some of those doubts and some of those fears. And we're hoping that we can create that space where women feel truly safe and feel seen and heard and valued for exactly who they are. Because we know that some months you may show up to an event with total abundance, being in a time and a space where you have energy and insight and the strength to lift others up. And other months you might show up completely empty handed, exhausted, and literally running on fumes. But it doesn't matter. At Bloom, in our community that we're building, everything is okay. You don't have to earn your spot in the circle or earn your spot here in my backyard. You can come and absorb the warmth, take up space, and let the collective energy of the women around you just help to sustain you because we know in another season, you're going to be the one holding your light for someone else and giving us the gift of you. Okay, so let's get to a point where we can connect personal growth and transformation with community and with others. We are, as human beings, hardwired for connection. We know that. And true transformation doesn't just happen by looking in the mirror at ourselves, reading the books, and being in our own heads, talking ourselves through things. I mean, yes, reflection is important, of course, but it also happens looking across a circle or talking with people one on one or in a group. We need other people to help us reflect back our strengths, celebrate our brave steps that we're taking, and sometimes ask the questions that we're too close to see. I'm currently doing some coaching with a new friend that I've met through Bloom, and it's been such a gift. Her name is Lori, and she's working with me on my Enneagram profile. I've done a number of different personality things. I've never done Enneagram, and I've heard lots about it. And I always feel that those are really important reflection tools where we can always gain more information about ourselves. So, one of the things Lori and I have been working on with my own profile is she's been bringing to the surface through my profile some of my blind spots. Now, obviously, I don't see them because that's why they're called blind, and I haven't seen them. So sometimes I can find myself a bit resistant to them. And she's very gentle, and she reflects them back to me in a way that's very kind and gentle. And then she hands it over to me to give my reflections back if it's making sense. But if I didn't have that opportunity with her, I would never be able to identify those blind spots in my life and in my work. So this has been such a valuable thing, but it gets even better. So the reason this is happening is that Lori and I have entered into a reciprocal relationship. I am doing coaching with her, executive leadership coaching, and she is doing Enneagram coaching with me. No money is being exchanged. You could say it's transactional if all we did was do one for the other, but it's so much more than that. It's a gift of a new relationship and the growth and transformation and the connection that will continue because of our sessions together, whether it's through executive leadership coaching or through the Enneagram coaching. It's a beautiful example of a gift economy and giving gifts and receiving something back. So tomorrow is our Bloom Backyard Circle. And I must admit, when Dana and I started our Thrive and Rise business, we called it Thrive and Rise Academy. And now we haven't actually taken the word academy out of our name, but I've noticed that we rarely use the word academy. We call it Thrive and Rise. And it's because when we first entered into this business and we first co-founded these spaces, we really thought it was about the curriculum and the teaching and what we were going to give to participants. But we've realized that it's more about what people bring to the space in terms of their own personal transformation and what they're looking for and what happens in a space. And tomorrow it will be more of an unstructured space. So we will have a conversation, and tomorrow it happens to be about women's health. And we know that the women who are coming must all have questions. I mean, most of us do about women's health. And it will give us an opportunity to talk about some of those difficult topics and know we're not alone in some of our feelings. So, where we come into a space with questions and maybe we want to know what we should be able to do next, sometimes we don't know what those next steps are without having the conversation. And yes, the books are amazing. I talked about what a voracious reader I am as well. But all the reading and all the information comes together when we can have a conversation about it and share it. And then we can be in a situation where we're building our relationships with one another. We're building that connection. And tomorrow we're going to be in an informal space and just enjoying the pool and the yard and just being together after our conversation. At Bloom Leadership Circle, we do the same. We don't rush people out the doors and we watch as people linger because they want more conversation. So we notice what has happened at Bloom is the ongoing ripple effect, and that is just so, so exciting. We pour into each other without that sense of obligation. So that's where it can all come together. So let's shift the definition of personal development. This is not a destination that we're looking to achieve, just a goal or an outcome. It's a journey. It's a journey that can be lonely or it can be supported by other people. And that's really what we're looking for. We want to find our authentic voices so that we can also be the voice for other people. We can be in a community where we offer ourselves and our authenticity, and we can receive in turn others and how they are feeling and what they've learned to help us to grow in our own personal growth. So I'm going to challenge you, like I always do, to stop just looking inward and start looking around. Not because you're judging others, because I want you to see, who am I growing together with? You can put your crown on. We want our crowns on, but remember that crowns are very heavy, and they're even heavier when you try to carry them alone. So why not lean on the people who are around you, also looking for a little extra support? Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing in some of my wonderings about how personal development and community and reciprocity of community go together. If you have a perspective on this, I would love for you to share it. Share it on social media and tag me. We are better because we are together. And I'm so grateful for you and being in this podcast community. I would love for you to share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If something from this episode sparked a shift in you, I would love to hear about it. Please share your biggest takeaway or aha moment on social media and tag me so I can celebrate your growth along with you. And if this show is adding value to the person you are becoming, it would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a 5-star review. Your support helps us reach more leaders who are ready to speak their truth, and I am deeply grateful for every single one of you in this community. Remember, this life isn't about reaching a destination. It's about loving the process of who you are becoming every step of the way. I'll see you next time.